Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. So I welcome all the participants in this webinar on International Women's Day, which has been organized by ICID. I welcome President Dr. Marco Arcieri, President of ICID, other speakers. We have 6 esteemed speakers in this webinar and all the participants. First of all, congratulations on International Women's Day. And today we are celebrating this International Women's Day, and we are celebrating the strength, resilience, and achievements of women in all the sectors, especially water management sector. So we are organizing this webinar to celebrate this event, and the topic of this webinar is Women, Water, Women, and Access, Stronger Together, More Inclusive Forever. In this webinar, we have 6 speakers. Let me introduce the first speaker, who is the moderator of the session also, Dr. Nargis Johari. She is Associate Professor at Islamic Azad University, Iran, and she has about 23 years of academic and professional experience in water resource engineering and management. She has valuable practical scientific experience developing knowledge and capacity in water industry in various academic, industrial, and technical independent institutions in Iran. She is head of Iran Regional Node, ICID International Research Program for Irrigation and Drainage. She is also executive member of Iranian National Committee on Irrigation and Drainage. She is the member of 3 working groups in ICID, and she is chairperson of Task Force on Women Empowerment in Water Management. Welcome, Dr. Nargis Johari. And other speakers are Ms. Cardine Mailaward she is Water Ambassador of Southwest Australian Government. We have Patricia Moreno from Food Agricultural Organization of United Nations. We have Ravinder Kaur, Principal Scientist in Indian Council of Agricultural Research in India. We have Manohara Khadka from IMI, International Water Management Institute, and Ms. Veena Kanduri. She is Executive Secretary cum Country Coordinator from Global Water Partnership India. So I welcome all the speakers and participants in this webinar. And now I hand over the platform to our moderator and speaker, Dr. Nargis Johari. Dr. Nargis Johari, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Secretary General Dr. Gupta, for your kind introduction, and my sincere appreciation to President Dr. Marco and you and ICID Central Office for your efforts in organizing this important webinar. On the occasion of International Women's Day, I extend my warmest greeting to everyone joining us today. This is a day to recognize the invaluable contributions of women in all spheres of life, including their active role in water management and the border water food energy nexus. We have a rich program of discussion ahead today. 5 expert speakers will join us to share their valuable experiences and insights on the role of women in this field and the Nexus approach. These perspectives will undoubtedly contribute to more inclusive and effective water governance. Before we begin the keynote speeches, I will give a brief presentation on the importance of women participation in various sectors of water, energy, food nexus. In this presentation, we will explore the necessity of adopting this integrated approach in resource management, its impacts on sustainable development, the transformating role of women, and the necessary actions to drive meaningful change. This introduction will set the stage for deeper discussions through the webinar. Let me our topic, Water Women Nexus, Stronger Together, More Inclusive Forever, is not just a slogan, it's a vision to call to action and a roadmap for sustainable future. As you know, major water challenges globally can generally be categorized into the following: water security, food security, energy security, and environmental degradation. These challenges illustrate that all of these stem from human interaction with various issues. It's worth nothing that, according to credible sources, only half of the sustainable development goals at the global level have been achieved so far. Global estimates indicate that by 2050, over 2/3 of world population will face water stress. This alarming projection underscores the necessity for adopting innovative approaches, comprehensive and inclusive strategies, and participatory management practices in water governance. And the Nexus approach highlights the interdependence of water, energy, and food sectors. Nexus offers a comprehensive and integrated framework to ensure access to water, energy, and food while prioritizing long-term environmental and ecosystem health. Its focus on managing trade-off, reducing inefficiencies, enhancing synergies at a systematic level across water, energy, and food. Therefore, adopting participatory inclusive governance approach along with integrated policymaking and managing across water, energy, and food, a holistic perspective has become a strategy necessary in modern era. This is crucial for ensuring water and energy security, food security, and achievement sustainable development, while promoting economical, social well-being. In this context, women play a central leadership role in the Nexus, acting a key connectors and facilitators to bridging gaps and fostering integration and connectivity. The importance of women leaderships cannot be overstated. It brings holistic, inclusive decision-making, ensuring that policies address diverse needs and create sustainable solutions. Women's practical knowledge from community roles strengthens governance, as their direct experiences with water, energy, and food system leads to informed and effective strategies. Moreover, women drive innovative and resilience, fostering creative solutions that enhance resource management. Their leadership is also critical in stressing climate adaptation, ensuring that response of climate challenges are both sustainable and inclusive. Finally, women play a key role in accelerating SDG progress, creating a ripple effect that advances equality, welfare, and sustainability. Behind this core contribution, women's leadership adds immense value, offering diverse perspective, fostering community engagement, maintaining a long-term focus, and driving empowerment and capacity building. To build a true inclusive and resilient future, we must ensure that women's voices are not just heard, but lead the way. FAO estimated that if women have access to agricultural resources similar to men, their crop yield will be 20 to 30% higher than men's, which could reduce global hunger by 12 to 17%. In Netherlands and Swiss, the presence of women in water resource management has resulted in a 20% reduction in water consumption and 50% increase in energy efficiency. Research by World Resource Institute shows that water management projects led by women attract more social participation. It should be noted that globally, there has not been comprehensive study or research on the empowerment and participation of women in water governance and management decision-making process. Existing studies are limited to specific institutional and university performances, and there are no more comprehensive studies that consider the state of countries across different continents. The ICID platform, which includes 81 member countries, especially in developing countries with great climatic and cultural diversity, could provide a unique platform for defining such a study. I remember in many sessions that I was and attend, the question was, what should politics, governance, policymaker, large employer, and industry association be doing on an ongoing basis, both to empower women directly and participate in a positive and diverse international community? To enhance women's effective participation in the water sector, development of comprehensive vision for politicians, governments is important. One key approach in this regard is raising awareness among policymakers and governments about the benefit of the positive outcomes of women's presence and participation both at the community and operational level. In this context, allocating appropriated budget, developing necessary infrastructures, and setting specific quotas for capable women in policy making and governmental decision making will be very effective. Additionally, the support and contribution of major employers and industrial association for national and global programs and initiative related to women's empowerment can increase government attention to this issue and encourage greater participations. Investing in the developments of female leaders and demonstrating the positive impact of women's participation on economical, social, and environmental development will encourage countries to better utilize women's capacities. For example, this May, I remember I went to Tajikistan in May this year and participated in the fourth international drainage ICID international drainage workshop. In this workshop, a side event focused on the role of women in decision-making process in water management. Tajikistan's successful experiences such as the Syria Women Basin in collaboration with the Association of Women and Society highlight the importance of developing women's capacity. This association has been very effective in creating a stakeholder participation for implementing of the integrated water resource management and can serve as a model for NENA and MENA regions. This issue will lead to synergy and exchange of software between countries in the region and increase peace and friendship. In this regard, the role of international organizations and their support is very crucial for mainstreaming the women leadership and encourage countries to move toward gender equality on their stages. Considering the strategic priority and importance of water and food security in the ICID vision, it's crucial to fully utilize the maximize women's capacities, capabilities, and indigenous knowledge in the optimal and sustainable management of water resources and agricultural water management. In this regard, the International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage has taken an important, bold step to establishing Women's Empowerment Task Force in water management. Task force is not just a symbolic action, but a practical commitment to change and transformation. Its aims is to remove the barrier that keep women marginalized and to create opportunities for leadership, innovation, and influence in the future of water management. We will share with you the report of the roadmap and 3-year rolling plan very soon. And we encourage international donors, ICID international donors, to join this movement. With over 80 members countries, ICID can serve as a powerful platform for defining international projects on women empowerment, sharing country experiences, and facilitating knowledge exchange. Reflecting on this year, strong together, more inclusive for others, let us remember that true strength comes from inclusion. Inclusion. The ICID task force is a shining example of how collaboration can build a fairer and more sustainable world. By supporting and amplifying women's voice in water management, we are investing in a future where everyone, regardless of gender, has the opportunity to participate in and benefit from the responsible management of this precious resource. Let us make the International Women's Days a call action. Let us commit to working together, stronger, more inclusive, and united forever for a world where women are not only participants but leaders in shaping a secure water future. Additionally, at this 4-year, as this year's forward irrigation in Malaysia, the ICID task force will have an active presence in collaboration with the Malaysia National Committee. It will organize a workshop and side event on women participation in water governance and management. We are currently accepting abstract and hereby invite the estimate attendance to submit their papers and participate in this workshop. In conclusion, let us return to our motto: water, women, Nexus, stronger together, more inclusive forever. This is not just a celebration, it's a commitment. By embracing the Nexus approach and promoting women's leadership, we can shape a future where water is sustainably managed, energy is efficiently utilized, and food security is ensured for all. On this International Women Days, I call upon policymakers, professionals, and advocates to join this mission. Let's break barrier, amplify women's voice, and transform the water sector into a true reflection of humanity, diversity, and strength. Together, we can recognize women not just as a participant, but as leaders in shaping a more inclusive and sustainable world. Thank you, and let's continue this journey stronger than ever. The motto of water, Women Nexus, stronger together, more inclusive forever, highlight the necessity of women presence in resource management and benefit relationship. Overcoming challenges and building a more sustainable future require collective action, and ICID task force stand at the forefront of this transformation. Thank you. At the end, I want to thank special thanks to my colleagues in ICID. Dr. Rajab, Chair of Water, Energy, Food Nexus, Dr. Watanabe, Dr. Wahba, Dr. Schulz, Dr. Marco, Dr. Neirizi, Mr. Pandya, Dr. Gupta, and Ms. Anna Carl Maywald, Anupama Maduka, and Dr. Behzad Navidi Nasash for an all national committee and all member of task force. Thank you so much for your attention. And this time, let me thank you for attention. Now let's move to our first keynote speaker. Our first speaker is Miss Anna Caroline Maywald, the South Australian Water Ambassador, with extensive experiences in water policy development and reform. She not only served as Minister for Water Security during the Millennium Drought and has played a key role in national reforms for transboundary water management. We are also honored to have Caroline as a Vice Chair of the ICID Task Force, Women Empowerment in Water Management. Today, she brings compelling theme title, Be What You Can See, emphasizing that women need a positive role model to inspire and lift them to great ambitions. Please welcome Miss Carly Mabel. This stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nargis. Now I'm going to struggle through this because I have lost my voice, so I'm hoping that you can all hear me clearly enough. I was very fortunate this week to be in India, and I visited the ICID office, and I thank you, Dr. Gupta, for showing me such great hospitality, and it was good to go up to the office and meet you there. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's an honour to be here today to celebrate International Women's Day. It's a day to reflect, it's a day to celebrate and to take action towards gender equity. Today I want to talk about a simple yet profound concept, and it's called Be What You See. This idea is both a call to action and a reminder that each of us, regardless of gender, has the power to shape the world around us. We're all influenced by the images and the stories and the role models that shape the world around us. However, in turn, we have the ability to impact others simply by being ourselves. So let's take a deep dive into what that means to be what we see. When we talk about seeing, we often talk about representation. You know, those images, the stories, and the people we encounter in our daily lives, in the media, at work, at school, and in our communities. And for decades, the narrative around women's roles has often been limited and one-dimensional. Historically, women were either invisible or shown through a restrictive lens, often as caregivers, assistants, or in a limited set of professions. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with those professions. It's just that women are so much more to offer. And so we need to expand our thinking around this. Being what you see means more than just seeing someone else's success. It's about being a role model for others. So when you take your place in the world unapologetically, showing up as your authentic self, you inspire those around you to do the same. As women, it's crucial to remember that we don't have to fit into predefined boxes. We are multidimensional beings with unique talents, passions, and skills. When you be what you see, you challenge the stereotypes that have historically constrained women's opportunities. You become a reflection of what's possible. You become the change you want to see. Take, for example, women like Serena Williams, Malala Yousafzai, Maya Angelou, and the Ruth Bader Ginsburg. These women have not only broken barriers, they've redefined what it means to be strong, resilient, creative, and ambitious. Their actions speak louder than words, and they show the world that there is no one way to be a woman. Their courage to step forward and be unapologetic themselves invites others to do the same. But here's the thing. We all have the potential to inspire. It's not just about the famous faces or public figures we admire. It's about what happens when we show up, and we show up and we continue to show up fully ourselves every single day. When we embrace our strengths and acknowledge our struggles, we become role models for the next generation of women and girls. Encouraging each other is key. We often underestimate the power of encouragement. A simple, I believe in you, or you've got this, can go a long way in helping others believe in it themselves. As we become more visible in leadership positions, in our communities, in our families, we provide the proof that anyone, regardless of their background, socioeconomic status, or ethnicity, can rise to any occasion. This is especially vital for young girls. When girls see women in a wide variety of roles, they begin to believe that they can be those things too. They can begin to imagine themselves in positions they might not have considered otherwise. Being what you see also means embracing the diversity of experience that women bring to the table. There is no one size fits all for womanhood. Women come in different shapes, sizes, colours, and backgrounds. Our experiences are shaped by our unique identities, cultural, ethnic, socioeconomic, and personal. And this diversity is something we must celebrate and we have to champion it. When we be what we see, we create space for the authentic representation of all women. A woman doesn't have to look, think, or act in one particular way to be considered successful or powerful. Women can be soft and strong, quiet and loud, reserved and bold. And that's a powerful message we can pass on to the next generation that follows us, that it's okay. We don't all have to be the same. So what can we do as individuals with this idea? How can we embrace it in our daily lives? And so I've put together a few things that I think we consider. We can, of course, lead by example. Whether you're in your workplace, you're in your community, your home, striving to be the kind of woman you want to see in the world. You embrace your passions, your ideas, your dreams, and let your confidence shine. By doing so, you encourage others to do the same. Mentoring and encouragement is so important. It's taking the time to mentor others, whether they're young girls or peers, to offer guidance, share experiences, and provide the support you wish you had when you were starting out. I think that's really, really important. I think I get as much out of mentoring as I hope that I give. We should also celebrate women's diversity and acknowledge the wide spectrum of experiences that women have and learn from others who are different from you. Be curious. I mean, being curious is so important. You don't have to be the most powerful person in the room. Often it's the most curious person in the room that is the most successful. And you find your strength in shared experiences. We can support women of all backgrounds in their journeys by sharing our experiences. We can also challenge stereotypes, speak out against limiting stereotypes, and push for greater representation of women in every field, in every industry and every community. And I congratulate ICID and what they're doing now. And we've come a long way over the last few years where women sat in the audience or made the cups of tea at ICID. We're now part of the program in a really strong and meaningful way. We are now gathering momentum in the participation in what we need to be doing to actually make ICID a better organisation and a stronger organisation. I think it's really important that the more women who see themselves represented, the more they'll believe that they can be those things too. So having more women up there on the stages at ICID forums and involved in ICID activities and in ICID committees is critically important to be what you see. In closing, being what you see is a reminder that we all have the power to shape the world simply by showing up as our authentic selves, by embracing our diversity, supporting one another, and leading with confidence. We not only empower ourselves, but also inspire those who come after us. On this International Women's Day, I think we should commit to being the change we wish to see. And let's continue to uplift and encourage one another, knowing that every step we take brings us closer to a world where every woman and girl can see herself and believe in herself in ways that are limitless. Thank you. Back to you, Nagas.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, dear Caroline, for your insightful presentation on the importance of role model in empowering women. Your message about be what you can see truly highlight the power of visibility in shaping ambition and leadership. We appreciate your valuable contribution to today's discussion. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. Ravinder Kaur, a gold medalist in agriculture physics. She is a distinguished researcher specializing in environmental impact assessment, water resource management, and sustainable agriculture. Dr. Ravinder has pioneers innovative technology in eco-friendly waste water treatment and soil water management, earning prestigious awards such as the Young Scientific Award and Fulbright Fellowship. Her presentation titled "Role of Women in Water and Food Security." Engendering the climate for change. Promises of the offer thought provoking insights. Please welcome Dr. Ravinder. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Nargis. Can you give me the link to share my presentation, please?
Yes. Let me. Please share.
Okay. It says you cannot start sharing the screen. Okay, now I can share. Thank you so much. Before I start, is my presentation visible to all?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you so much. At the outset, I'd like to thank President ICID, Professor Marco Arceli, and the Secretary General, Dr. R.K. Gupta ji, along with Madam Professor Nargis, for giving me this opportunity to today share with all of you some of my thoughts on the state of the rural woman, particularly in the developing countries and more so in the Indian subcontinent in terms of water and food security, and also to highlight that how in the event of climate change, it is the woman, the rural woman, the farm woman, which is the most affected, and how engendering the climate can bring a change in the years to come. I would also like to, first of all, congratulate all my very able lady panelists. Wish you all a very happy Women's Day. And especially, I would like to congratulate Honorable Madam, if I'm not wrong, Madam Carleen. Truly, your presentation was very inspiring, Madam, and very thoughtful. And I am very much enriched with this. Now, before proceeding further with my presentation, I would, just to set the stage, we all know that women in most South Asian economies are actively involved in not only managing the farm household activities, but also the farm operations, and are also working as laborer in the agriculture fields, as the picture on the right-hand side of my presentation clearly depicts. Women is everywhere, into plowing, into sowing, into watering, into weeding, harvesting, post-harvest activities, post-processing activities, as well as harvest processing activities. And according to an estimate by the United Nations Development Program, it has come to the cognizance of all that a rural woman invisibly contributes about 11 trillion US dollars. So that's the level of the contribution of the rural woman. She is a mother, she is a sister, she is a wife, she is a daughter-in-law, she is a farm worker, she is everywhere. She is everywhere on the canvas. So in spite of all these facts, and as per the latest FAO estimates, which states that women account for an average 43% of the agricultural labor force in the developing countries, yet in most of the developing countries, and in fact across the South Asian canvas, it is felt that water policies, it is felt that the farmers are the men. And that's the reason why all water policies related to agriculture continue to be more, male farmer friendly than the female farmer friendly. So I'll come with some more facts and figures to prove my point and to bring the factual figures to the surface. If you look at the key agricultural activities undertaken by the rural women vis-a-vis the rural men, particularly in the Indian subcontinent. So this data is specific to India, which is still falls under the developing countries. If you look at the two sides of the table here, you see the woman is mostly engaged in the unskilled, non-skillful work activities, more drudgerous work activities such as weeding, preparing fertilizer manure, collecting fodder, and then storing the seeds, all these kinds of drudgerous activities. While on the contrary, men are more into the skillful activities like machine-based seeding, watering, operating tractors for plowing and harvesting operations, bunding, leveling. So they are more into the activities which are skill oriented. Because if many people here in India also and globally say that there is a great empowerment of rural women in the agriculture sector. But I personally don't view it as rural women empowered, because a rural woman still is into drudgery, is still into, laborious work, whether it is the farm household work, or the farm per se work. So she's still into the drudgery. Just by having more women into the agri sector doesn't mean that the agriculture has become women empowered. But women is not empowered. Agriculture may be women empowered, but women per se is still not empowered. So I personally feel that there is a need for serious introspection on the role of the rural woman as one of the socially and economically underdeveloped and marginalized entity in the society. And that to me seems to be very, very crucial point, very, very justified matter to be discussed. And in fact, it is very, very multifaceted. If you improve the social and the economical status of the rural women, it has got multifaceted dimensions, and that I will just highlight in a couple of minutes. Now, not only whenever we talk about the agriculture production, water is the key thing. We know that 80 to 90% of the freshwater supplies goes into producing food. And when we talk about the water, energy automatically comes to the picture. And when we talk about water and energy, everything, starts revolving around it. So climate change is actually, which is fast becoming a reality, and it is no more a question mark, is fast becoming one of the greatest challenges of our times, and in fact has the potential to alter the course of development and the human progress, starting from the depletion of the water and its connectivity with the energy and the food production, because everything from head to toe of a human being is nothing but agriculture. I'm not overemphasizing the profession into which I am, but I'm sure all of you would definitely believe in what I'm saying. However, this climate change, it has got differential impacts on the marginalized and the poor sections of the society. And here, while talking on the International Women's Day, for me, marginalized and the poor sections of the society in the picture are the rural farm women. So if we look at the gender impacts of the climate change, say, for example, due to some reason, there is a lower food production. What will be its impact on a woman vis-a-vis a man? If it is a woman, farm woman, she'll have to sleep empty stomach, because the first priority for the food has to go to the men, her husband, and the children, right? And if there is a drought-like an event, and if it is a continuous drought-like event in a region, it's a reality. It leads to distress migration. And who migrates? The male migrates south and the female are left behind. Now, when these females are left behind, they are the ones who not only have to look after the family, the house, household chores, but they also have to ensure the availability of food and water in the family. And from where does that food and water come if there is a drought? That's a very big question mark. So she enters into subsistence farming. And when the subsistence farming is also where, because often, whenever there is a drought, it also leads to soil salinity. There are many regions in India where the land has become so saline that the males have migrated out, leaving the female folks and the children behind. And now they they are really looking forward to the source of their livelihood. So what does that woman who is not skilled in any of the agricultural operations, who is just a labor on the farm, who doesn't know how to operate a tractor, who doesn't know how to mechanize the irrigation, who doesn't know how to link with the market, who doesn't know food processing, who doesn't know what are the alternatives to the livelihood, how will she survive when the male is gone? So often it leads to many social impacts, and that is like women and child trafficking, HIV/AIDS, health concerns, domestic violence. So all these are to be borne by the woman. So keeping all this in view, and to cut this story short, because I have to give time to the other able speakers also to show this mind. So there's an urgent need to adopt gender responsive approaches in climate change preparedness policy making and programming to enable the crucial role of the women as a key actors in climate risk management initiatives. So where do we stand? So the question is, where are we right now? See, globally, many countries across the world are implementing the transfer of irrigation management from the government to the farmers. Now, whenever we do that, this is precisely called participatory water management, because the government wants that water should be managed by the people themselves, by the farmers themselves. So whenever we enter into such kind of an arrangement, self-governance through management by the farmers needs good institutional design in which participation and empowerment requires the significant emphasis in determining the rights over the water resources. However, if you look around, the participation of the women in the water user association, especially in the South Asian countries like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, is often minimal. And that too, despite their substantial involvement in the food production, as I just elaborated. And if so, there is some participation of the women in these parts of the globe, then those women typically belong to higher castes or wealthier households, and hence the poorer and the lower caste women are just not represented in any of the participatory water management activities. So the key question is, what are the determinants of the women participation? See, the current low-level women participation in water management and water user associations in most developing countries has been attributed to a gender gap in the property rights. Because with property comes the right to the acquisition of the water resources. Secondly, is that in most of the irrigation management systems in the water user associations, rights are given to the households which are headed by men. Why? Because it is assumed that, and also accepted, especially in India, that the public and the economic spheres of life are to be managed by men, and only the personal and the domestic matters are to be managed by the woman. Secondly, time and the location of the meetings is often so unsuitable for these water user associations that women often fail to participate due to basically social reasons or because of their busy domestic schedule. Older women, widows, single women, they are often the most active participants, if at all their participation is there in such water user associations as compared to the young and the married women, because they're busy in other domestic affairs and because their husbands don't allow them to go that far. Also, women are perceived to be not capable of making a meaningful contribution. Why? Because they are not that skilled, they are not that literate, they are supposed to be unaware of most of the worldly affairs which are connected with the production, the skillful worldly affairs, and also they lack communication as well as the negotiating skills. So that is the present state of the affairs. And why that is there? Because in India, the extension system continues to be largely male dominated. Now, because the extension system is largely male dominated, therefore it leads to a systematic exclusion of women farmers from accessing the extension services. Even though the males are not at home, there is a distress migration, and there is a male extension officer who has come to the village. The woman will not be able to access that extension service because of the gender norms, particularly in the rural areas, that discourages women from interacting with men outside their family. If she does that, it is not considered to be good, right? And it is happening even now. So we should not say that we are in the modern world. It is still happening. Moreover, India suffers from a severe scarcity of extension officers at various levels. On an average, extension services reach only about 7% of the farmers. So what is the net result of this is that for engendering the climate, for positive change, there is an urgent need to ensure at least 1/3 representation of women extension workers in the workforce, because women can interact only with the women. Now, let's look at the women and the national water policies. Where are we there? It is us who are discussing that this should happen, that is good, that is bad. But what is the country thinking and was thinking in past, and what is it thinking now? So if you look at the national water policies of India, 1987, 2002, 2012, they do not give much the importance to the concerns related to gender. If you look at the National Water Policy 87, it mentions the need for equity and social justice in water distribution and allocation. However, it does not mention women as a special group and covers only the economically disadvantaged sections, that is the small farmers, and the socially disadvantaged classes, that is the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. Similarly, if you look at the National Water Policy 2002, that mentions women only once, while emphasizing appropriate roles for them in designing participatory water institutions. Water Policy 2012 goes a step further to consider the unique needs and aspirations of the women, along with SC and STs and other weaker sections. Thus, though the two most recent water policies, that is 2002 and 2012, and the latest one is yet to be brought out in 2030, it does mention women in its documents. All the three water policies do not look at the design from a gender perspective, and none of them gives concrete guidelines or recommendations to make the policies more gender neutral. However, if you look at the National Policy for Women 2016, it does acknowledge the role played by the women in agriculture and also emphasizes legal provisions to ensure women's rights to immovable property such as land. The policy also recognizes that non-availability of water inputs, non-availability of the water puts additional burden on women. Hence, it recommends that the design of programs and projects must be done in keeping in view women as significant water users. It also suggests the need for involvement and training of the women in initiatives on conservation and utilization of water. So you see that unlike the water policy, the national policy for women, which is for the gender perspective in water resource management strategies, and is thus expected to ensure better participation of women in various stages of water management, such as right from planning, delivery, and maintenance of the projects. So we are moving in the right direction. So what are the recommendations at the end? I personally feel that the government and non-government organizations should work harder towards ensuring that women have equal access to agriculture, land, and property rights. And this has now started happening even in the rural areas, because the government has relaxed the taxation, the registration tax on the land if it is in the name of the woman. So it's not because men really love women and therefore they are registering the land in the name of their wives, but because they want to save on the registration tax that the land is being registered in the name of the female. But that is also okay. At least it is being, registered in the name of the female. And as per the FAO 2022 closing, 2022 data, it has been brought to the limelight that if we close the gender gap in land ownership, it is capable of increasing the farm productivity by 30%. Second recommendation could be that we should promote skill training and capacity building programs for women farmers in order to enhance their knowledge and proficiency in implementing participatory climate change adaptation schemes at village level. It should be made mandatory that whenever such trainings happen, 50% should be female. Otherwise, that funding for the training will not be discharged. Also, there is a need to encourage adoption of modern agriculture technologies and innovations among the women farmer. And this includes like providing access to information and communication technology or tools, whether forecasting, market information, efficient irrigation methods, wherein the women are less trained as of now. Also, there is a need to support women's participation in water use associations, farmer producer organizations, and also link them to larger markets in order to improve their bargaining power and income prospects and livelihood in times of climate disasters. Also, there is need to ensure gender budgeting for supporting local adaptation funds for, say, augmenting local water resource for sustained food production or livelihood or health and well-being for women during particularly the disasters like droughts, floods, extensive migrations. Now, but where are we? See, the India's policy, environment, and implementation of various schemes and programs in the agriculture sector has been recently demonstrating serious commitment towards promoting climate smart adaptation strategies. And it is encouraging to note that according to the updated NDCs recently submitted to UNFCCC by India, India has committed to enhance its investments in development programs in sectors vulnerable to climate change, including the agriculture sectors. However, to further catapult to the next level, the current policies and the institutional arrangements need to be strengthened need to strengthen their emphasis on well-developed agriculture extension services, supported by credit and insurance availability, to particularly improve farm women's social and economic empowerment and consider them as agents of change rather than victims of climate change. And when I'm saying supported by credit and insurance availability, I'm particularly targeting the women, because as of now, the credit and the insurance availability is not given to the farm women because the land is not in her name. It is given to only those farm women in which the property is in that female's name. So it has to there is a need for well-developed agriculture extension system to train the woman, to make her more skillful, to educate her, and together with that, give her the property rights so that she can be supported by credit and insurance availability. In fact, the credit and insurance availability should not be linked to the property somehow, I feel, because if the male is gone and the property is in the name of the male, the female cannot take any insurance or credit in his absence. So all these small little changes can make a big change. So that's all I had to share with all of you. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. And once again, a very happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ravinder, for your deep presentation on the role of women in agriculture, water management, and food security. Your insight and your experiences and your recommended policy and strategy for change is so serious. And now, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next, we had Dr. Manohara Khatka, the country representative for the International Water Management Institute in Nepal, an expert in water and natural resource management. She has over 25 years of experiences in participatory governance, gender and social inclusion, especially within the Himalaya region. Her presentation, Advancing Women's Role in Water Solution in South Asia for Businesses as Usual and to Transformation, will explore transformative approaches in the sector. Please welcome Dr. Manohara. The floor is yours.
Yeah, can you stop the slide? It said that there is a slide.
Yes. Yes, we can share now.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Can you see my slide or not?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's going to come.
Sorry
yes,
for
it's
that.
going.
It should be coming. What happened? Just a minute. I don't know what happened. I click here, but stop again and back. Sorry for. Can you see it?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, we can see. Yes.
Sorry for that. So, thank you so much. Yeah, bear with me with this IT. First of all, very good afternoon and happy International Monday to all esteemed presenter, organizer, and also all participants. Very pleasure to speak you today. My presentation indeed is also related to the previous speaker. I just wanted to just introduce myself. I'm Manohara Khadka. I work for International Water Management Institute. And as you know, the IMI, International Water Management, is really dedicated to the water sector world. And IMI also dedicated to ensure gender equality, advance women's roles and youth role in our water management. And we're very much proud of engaging with the gender social inclusion research for development to advance women's role and recognition and also voice in decision making. So having said that, based on my research, I do manage the office, country office, but I have also role of science. By science, I bring social science, applied research and water management from a gender and institution governance lens, as Dr. Narges introduced me. To start with, before starting gender issue, based on my research and perspective, I like to give you the what the water security situation in Asia Pacific. If you see there's a World Bank Water Outlook 2020. South Asian countries are very much far behind in terms of securing water for 5 dimensions, for example, water security in household, and also water economic, urban water security, also making the role of water and resilience during the disaster, and also the water has some sort of role to contribute. Also disaster losses observed through the water and also through the climate change. So looking at these countries like Nepal and also India, we are very far behind in terms of making water security. Even within a household, 1.1 billion people still in a rural area are unable to access water for basic drinking water and sanitation and basic livelihood activities. Having said that, in terms of gender equality and women's role in water and food security in South Asia, as Madam just before me also highlighted, women everywhere, women role is very critical, and they are contributing a lot in terms of making food security. Their role compared to men, 70% of the workforce in agriculture also are managed by the women. Also, they are responsible for securing water in a household level. If we see the research, social science research, gender research, more than 90% of household also water is secured through the women. Having said that, there are also gender inequality, as Madam also highlighted some of the areas, when it comes to the irrigation access, equity, equipment, and agriculture input. And also women do a lot on farm and also irrigation activity. Same work, same pay is not there. Men earn more and women earn less. There is inequality in pay. And also, if you looked at the land ownership, because access to water and irrigation, water, for example, require also some sort of subsidy for technology. And then when it comes to the access to subsidy, women are all constant by they have a less amount of, less access, asset, for example, land. If you looked at South Asia, except Bhutan is a multi-Indian country, but other country like Nepal, less than 10% of household has woman land or house in woman names. And so we're very much behind in terms of securing land in the name of women ownership of land. Gender decision making, if you look at the water user association, with no need to highlight again, that is a secure decision making role for women, although women do work on the farm and irrigation management. There is also South Asia region also very much impact. If you look at the access to diet and nutrition, women's access to women and children suffer most from malnutrition. And it means that women do not have good diet food also. So technology and information access, if you look at, they remain far behind. And when it comes to the opportunity and advancing women agency or leadership role, there is a definitely inequality because women are far behind to get access to income, decision-making opportunity, and also resource and knowledge. why these are happening? There are definitely systemic barrier, because the way society norms and also perception see men and women or boys and girls is very much traditional. There is also relation, power relation, based on gender, class, ethnicity, very much influence. This power relation is the shape of decision making, who decide, who sit in the decision making table, right? So there is a systemic challenge in also society. It also happened in the institution. I'll come in a minute. In terms of water security, for example, in Nepal, as I said, similar to overall South Asian, still around 90% around household, 90% household women are the major actor who secure the water for the sanitation, drinking, livestock, and homestead, kitchen, garden also. And then because Nepal is mountain country, have a very varied ecological zones, very much drying water source are also drying of different region, climatic and non-climatic region. Most of the impact of the not having water or drying of mountain is being also impacted from a gender lens. Is very much women and smallholder farmer and poor farmer, especially women who don't have a money to pay for water. So there is a very much gender impact of climate change also in water access. And also because of the water is not nearby home, women still they have a traditional role. They have been collecting, fetching water from distance. It means that there is already extra work for women to secure water for a household. Within the woman, also Madam Ravindra also highlighted that diversity among women and men in a region. If you looked at the different type of women, of a group of women, social group of men and women, we also did. My colleague are doing research on water access from people with disability lens. So those people who have a disability, they are far behind in terms of even securing water, access to water, or water infrastructure are not also related to, not considering this intersectional approach of designing water infrastructure. So certain group is even making much difficult position they are living. In terms of decision making, inclusivity in water decision making, we looked at also to what extent the water user association are gender inclusive in terms of making women heard and women role and also women decision making to be heard. So yes, figure also said that shows that there is a long way to bring women also in a decision making position, even also recognition of women role and decision making related to water. So why this problem is constantly happening? There are three barriers I want to briefly highlight. One is institutional barrier, another is policy, and also practice barriers. Institution-wise, yes, if you looked at institution of water, public, private, even community, there is an underrepresentation of women. And also even there are women, there is a limited space for them to have a very much exercise their own agency, their ability to make decision. They don't have much voice in deciding water, as we discussed earlier also. One of the reason also that limited ownership and resource capacity for gender social inclusion practices in the water institution. It need to be very much improved to focus on how to empower women. Means that we have to very strengthen institution from resource capacity ownership point of view to empower women. Also technical training, for example, who receive the technical training, women do work on farm, they manage water, but when it comes to the opportunity like technical training, there is also gender inequality. So the social power relation also define that who attend the training, who goes on the participation of the training. This is the challenge. And policy level, as Madam Ravinder highlighted, is also resonate here. We did analysis on policy to what action policy of water, energy, food, Nexus related policy also consider gender. We found that there is limited understanding of this issue. There is a little or here and there and woman and somewhere else, and then very much quantitative representation is emphasized. There is policy rarely understand, do not not understand the whole issue of power relation, social system, institution that prevent women to be recognized as a important actor of water security or water management. So there is a long way to improve the policy to be more on gender social responsive. And also decision making, whatever strategy put in a water or related energy agriculture policy, they focus on is something technology, like providing technologies for women, but there is not much strategy thinking to provide how to ensure that women benefit from technology as a non-traditional role in agriculture or water or irrigation. So in the design, and also we found that there is not much social science perspective, lack of female engineer also during discussion of the design. So there is a bit of inclusivity is missing in terms of knowledge perspective in the design implementation of the program related to agriculture, irrigation, water. When it comes to the knowledge forum, there is a lot of knowledge forum, and if you looked at we attend that knowledge forum, it's really dominated by some one gender, and women's participation in that kind of knowledge forum also very much not active, not effective. And also often the water dialogue or knowledge forum focus on technical approach rather than institutional arrangement, governance, policy that also promote equality. So just an example of one policy also I like to emphasize here, we looked at the to what extent water energy policy in the South Asia, especially Bangladesh and Nepal, this case, and also India, are very much inclusive in terms of to what extent this policy consider women's role as a as a change agent. Also to what extent this policy are guided towards addressing the unequal power relation, voice and participation. We found that policy, as Madam also highlighted, that this kind of perspective is very much missing in a water and also energy food ecosystem related policy. So if you looked at the energy policy of Bangladesh, for example, the light color is very much gender unaware. That policy ranges from unaware to aware, responsive and transformative. It's a long way towards the transformative approach in a policy. Yeah, there are many examples of women-friendly water solutions. Solution could be also technology, policy, institution arrangement. Some example I highlighted here is more on a technology side of it, like a multiple-use water system, gravity system-based water system that is not only one single-use water, multiple-use water. Really very much beneficial for women to be an entrepreneur, to reduce the workload for water collection or managing water for household. This is very proven. And same way solar power irrigation is very women friendly, very easy to operate, and drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation and also technology. But this solution remain as it is. I mean, not scale up, very large scale. So that large women farmer, for example, would benefit from this kind of solution. Some of the challenge of scaling are during the co-design process, we don't consider the gender issues from the beginning. And also scaling required financial ecosystem and finance, like as I said, irrigation, solar irrigation technology, there is a subsidy are not targeted for women who do agriculture. So there are a few challenges, like business model is not there, enabling policy is not there to scale this technology to reach larger women or smaller farmer who could benefit both in terms of income, food security, others. So scaling thinking is there, but very much is impacted by other factor that is very much difficult to reach out larger farmer, for example. Just summarize that we are doing the policy, institution, practice in the water sector is trying to be inclusive, but it seems that as a business as usual, like a token participation, number of few participation, very targeted, some services is there, but very much thinking is like how to enhance leadership, how to enhance benefit sharing, how to enhance decision making of all women. This kind of perspective we need to think of for future. Some sort of suggestion is that, for example, the subsidy, as I said, we did research on to what extent irrigation subsidy is a gender social equitable. It's not there. So subsidy target, subsidy policy and guideline is very much targeted to the, not targeted, it's very gender neutral. but requirement like land ownership, certification, citizenship is required. So women do not have land in their name, they cannot produce the land certificate, right? So they are already excluded from that provision of the state government. And also approach, there are some sort of gender transmitted tool, for example, self-reflection, capacity building tool, there are power relation exercise who are benefiting from irrigation or water. This kind of tool technique through this the using of this technology or tools, there is a needed to use in a policy making process for capacity implementation level process to build the capacity of stakeholder actor in the sector. Third dimension is we need to really consider, as I said, we need to move beyond the water as a technical solution, water as a social solution. Water should be managed in a way holistically as Nexus way, for example, but knowledge should be very interdisciplinary. There should be more on biophysical, social science, knowledge, analytics, research, the role of research, interdisciplinary research and innovation, very much important to tackle the gender inequality in the South Asia. Definitely water energy food ecosystem nexus approach would support to advance access to water, irrigated agriculture value chain, mixed farming. It's very much going beyond the one sector. It's recognizing that women can play a lot of role in this nexus way of managing resources. There is a need, strong need, not strong, I would say, the constant need that we need to recognize, respect, also engage women as important actor, not only the passive agent, as Madam also highlighted, especially in the governance system, water governance, and also there is a need for behavioral change in terms of recognizing all people equally. That there is, we should be very much empowering all aspect of knowledge and people. We need to focus on capacity building towards the transformative approach, and also need to create enabling environment in terms of policy, institutional arrangement, resource capacity, also shifting power relation, empowering more women in a leadership decision-making role in a water institution, not only the grassroots, and also in the at the scale, regional scale and local scale, also even a national scale. So there is a huge research also, not challenge at the policy and practice and also implement level. Issue around the women not having effective voice, not having enough space, also not recognized enough in a water sector should be also looked at through the very much holistically. Yeah, thank you so much for this is my.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manohara, for your enlightening perspective on gender inclusive water management. Thank you so much. Okay. Dr. Vena Handur, holding a PhD in environmental biology. She brings more than 35 years of expertise in water resource management, climate change, sanitation, and sustainable development. Dr. Vena Handuri has played a pivotal role in policy development and in empowering rural women as water enterprise. Her presentation, Women as Change Agent in Water Management, will offer inspired insight in deriving sustainability. Please welcome Dr. Handuri. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Nargis.
You're welcome.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
And can see my presentation slide?
Not yet. Yes, now it's okay.
Okay. So thank you so much. I'm indeed very privileged discussion. I'm really indeed more on my experiences, practical experiences based on this. My role or any other women, it is very, very important that they have to manage, conserve and distribute this. And it is not only for the rural women or any women, it is for every woman. Now, when we talk about the climate change, as 2-3 speakers have highlighted, where the water scarcity and too much water scenario is coming, not only the women the most impacted, but they are also the most in need of adaptation and coping mechanisms. And in this way, it is very important that handling water crisis, water quality, waterborne diseases, hygiene, and the conservation practices. So these are the nexus matters which have to be dealt with. Now we come to the importance of women and why this role is important. So many earlier speakers have presented the scenario. Many of them have presented the scenario in context of agriculture or the irrigation. This is the scenario that around 380 million women and girls, if we conclude that 9.5% of the world's female population living in the very high or critical water stress areas. And this number may go or may increase to 471 millions by 2030, which is around 11%. Further, by 2050, it can go up to the 674 million, which is representing the around 14% of the world's female population. And this has created a lot of, stress that how to handle this. And precisely that's why we need to involve women. If we go through our sustainable development goals and under SDG 6, particularly of the 2030 agenda, all the member states reaffirmed that human right to safe drinking water and sanitation is explicitly covered under the target 6.1 and 6.2. Similarly, when we are talking about the water scarcity and pollution, target 6.3 and pledge to make more efficient use of water covers under 6.4. Then protect water related ecosystems covers under 6.6. Our need for expanding the international cooperation comes under 6.8. IWRM comes under 6.5, and participation of local communities in water management also covers under target 6.b. So there is a lot of emphasis on the SDG target and how to involve the women. Now I particularly come to the SDG 5 and how these are the interlinked. So when we talk about the SDG 5, this particularly refers to the gender equality. And in our previous sessions, almost all the speakers talk about this gender equality. Why this is important? Because it can empower them socially and economically. And there, in each presentation, Dr. Kaur emphasized, Dr. Manohar Khadka also emphasized having them socially and economically dependent. And there are various determinants for this. The second is how this gender equality in water management can lead to better governance and resource distribution. So under 5, gender equality, this target has clearly covered all these actions. Then women's involvement in SDG 6, which is clearly talking about the clean water and sanitation. Here, this target mainly emphasize about the achieving the SDG 6 through the women's leadership in water related projects. And in the context of India, if we see, many water related projects and programs have really improved the efficiency of water management programs. I will come to that aspects later on. If we talk about the SDG 13 climate action, where this climate is going to affect water resources, and women will be the at the forefront of adapting to the impacts of climate change. So how it can be improved? Because women's knowledge of local ecosystems and natural resources is very, very important, and it will help them to develop adaptive strategies for coping with changing water availability. And how we can define this, like Dr. Kaur and Dr. Khadka and Dr. Nargis also emphasized that in the scenario of climate change, the coping strategy can be like choice of crop, choice of irrigation technology, choice of organic farming. So all these have to be taken up by the women in context of climate change and for the water security. The other goal for SDG 3 also reflects on the good health and well-being, and women's role in improving SDG 3 is integral because they are directly involved in water hygiene and sanitation. Basically, it is about informing the health decisions. So the women's role in managing clean water is essential, and also this will prevent the waterborne diseases, improving overall community health, and it will ensure the safe drinking water practices. So everybody is talking about call for action, and why it's very, very important, because we have only now 5 years to achieve the SDG 2030 deadline. And to achieve SDG 6 targets of water and sanitation and SDG 5 targets of gender equality and empowerment, it really requires following actions. These actions have been highlighted by the previous speakers in different forms, and the determinants have also been provided. So the first part is the support women's participation, which highlights the, first of all, advocate for policies that include women in all stages of water management, be it planning, be it implementation, or monitoring. The second aspect or the call for action is promote education and training. So we have to invest in education and training programs that will build women's capacity in water management. And third thing, if we do both, supports women participation through the policies and by promoting education and training, I think we will be helping empowering stronger communities. So by creating sustainable systems, enabling environments and solutions related to water management, we will be able to empower the communities. Now, I would like to share one very good information in gender mainstreaming in water management. India Water Partnership have just supported Ministry of Jal Shakti for completing one exercise for the India's country reporting on 6.5.1. And this report has been submitted to UN, where one of the sub-indicator was gender mainstreaming in water resource management. And I'm very happy to share that India has a high score of 80 out of 100, and this report is available on this given portal. You may refer it, and this high score clearly attributes that participation of women in water resource planning and management are effectively integrated in all national and state-led programs and missions. For example, Jal Jeevan Mission, Amrut, Atal Bhujal Yojana, Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So there are so many programs where participation of women has been ensured. Lakhs of champion women are contributing in success of these programs, and they are also playing role of Swachhagrahi, women sarpanch, Rani Mistri, artist, motivator, and part of village water committees and village water sanitation committees. As Dr. Ravinder Kaur have clearly mentioned about the inclusion of women in the national water policy, it is available in the Indian national water policy. The unique needs and aspirations of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, women, and other weaker sections of the society should be given due consideration. Further to this, the new programs created by the Ministry of Jal Shakti and other departments and other state-led programs have given a due recognition for the participation of women in water resource planning, not only by creating the numbers that representation of 1/3 women should be in the village water committees, but there should be a true sense of participation, and how it can be ensured, that is also very important. So coming to this example, I'm just going to share what IWP is doing. And what is IWP? IWP is a network of partners, and we are the accredited country water partnership of Global Water Partnership. As the theme highlights, stronger together, more inclusive forever. So IWP is already promoting and creating a very enabling environment for meaningful participation of women in its all programs, be it participatory irrigation or be it groundwater management. Women are playing a central role in all of the programs. So I'm just going to share one of the program which we have done as a 3-year program from 2022 to 25. This is one of the example of empowering women in water governance and management for enhancing the efficiency of water projects and promoting economic growth by generating additional household incomes, which invariably provides the empowerment of the women. So this is the example of what is Safe Water Enterprise. If you see the left side, there is a Safe Water Enterprise. It is locally managed, it is a scalable and replicable model. And the model itself is governed by the local government approval. So if government is interested and the community is interested, they provide the land, they provide the water also, because this is a model which is based on the participatory approach. So this is the one of the example where the IGEL stations have been given to the community, and women are managing these IGEL stations. So I will come next slide. This is one of the IGEL station from inside. And what role women is playing in this? If you see in this Safe Water Enterprise program, SHG manager is selected from within the community. So from within the village community, these women have been selected. They own and manage this IGL stations. The second is the operator. Operator is also from the community, and this operator run day-to-day operations of Safe Water Enterprises. Sometimes it is one operator or two operators. Third is the mobilizer, which is responsible for community engagement and demand generation activities to enroll consumers for adopting safe drinking water. Then the role comes for the cluster coordinator. This is the women which is in charge of a small cluster of safe water enterprise, like 4 or 5 villages are catered by one IGEL stations. And then this cluster coordinator leads the IGEL station performance metrics, reporting and sustainability. The other role is played by the retailer. This is a women shop owner in the village, retail water at additional nominal marginal to facilitate widespread, because this lady collect the water and then she facilitate the widespread access through her shop. And the another role is played by women is the CRM executive, which is trained in the safe water enterprise operations and management, and she supports and monitors the operators. So this is the role played by women in the safe water enterprise and how it has come. Before coming to this, there are a lot of challenges and barriers, and many of the challenges and barriers are similar what our other predecessors have clearly reflected in their presentation. The first is the social, because the patriarchal mindsets inhibit women participation and often exclude women from networks. So lack of self-confidence triggered by social discrimination. So sometimes this is one of the big challenge and barrier. The second is the political. They lack leadership positions in the local governance. So that's why they are not so much active, and their participation is very limited or negligible in the political arena. Political arena here refers to the village, village panchayat or block level participation. The other hindrance or challenge or barrier is the educational skills and training. Very few number of women are qualified and trained for water business. The second point is the technical, managerial, and reporting skills, which is required for water businesses lacking. And we also found that lack of course trainers in the local language to impart training, because when we are doing these trainings, we have the local people, local trainers, which are imparting these trainings to the women in their local language, and not qualified enough for leadership position. The other barrier is the institutional barrier, because lack of networks are there to collaborate and learn in water business. Then lack of role models to mobilize and motivate women for water business. They have very limited access to information and resources. And then the major hindrance is access to capital or microfinance from banks, because there is a limited, because it requires, for safe water enterprise, it requires a capital expenditure. And the banks are not supporting it until unless they are sure that women can handle this. So what we did, this is a very collaborative program, and this unit which you are seeing in the picture is pioneered by the Women's Self-Help Group, operated and maintained model for safe water delivery. And this model is developed with the financial assistance of the Honeywell, that is a private company. And Safe Water Network and India Water Partnership is doing the assessment and dissemination. Through this, we have generated 280 women's livelihoods, and for average earnings is around 3,000 to 5,000 per month. And in one station, around 4 to 5 women are managing this ideal station. What we are doing and what we are imparting water quality testing, and which is also supporting the existing program of Jal Jeevan Mission training, and thereby we are facilitating the local governance also. So 5 women from each Gram Panchayat were trained to test water quality using the field test kit, which is provided by the local administration. And for some villages where it was not provided, IWP have provided these field test kit, and it has been kept at the panchayat level. So at the lowest level of PHED, one person has to look after water supply of 100 to 150 villages. And in this, the women are playing a role for doing the qualitative observation, and basically 9 parameters: pH, chloride, hardness. These are the tests from the field test kits they are operating. And these testing are to be done twice a year for bacterial contamination and once for geogenic contamination. So this has given a lot of impetus to women for creating a self-confidence. This is the very latest in 2024 October, this September, this training was done in Telangana. 48 women were trained on water quality testing, plumbing, fixing leaks, fitting, water conservation, and entrepreneurship development in safe water enterprise. Then in 2024, the 5 women trained as technician, which were in 23, they undertook further water quality testing of 50 villages of Warangal, Hanumankonda, and Jalgaon districts of Telangana in pre and post monsoon season, covering around 1.5 lakh people. And the results are at the JI's location. They have been, they are submitting this online, and thereby they are also assisting the local administration for water quality administration, water quality analysis through the Jal Jeevan Mission program. Deviation wherever have been observed. Yes, I'm just going to finish it. Yeah.
If you could summarize,
Yeah,
so appreciate.
now I'm just going to summarize it in next 2 slides. So this is the village level observation they are submitting to the authorities. This is also the same because this is basically the policy and practice. And so we have come up with the policy guidelines and practices, and our outcomes were that how women are capable of handling technology and how this is going to help the goal 6.5.1, 5, 8, and 1. So the key messages is that we have now 5 years more to achieve the SDG 2030 deadline. And key among them are the interrelated SDG 6 targets of water and sanitation, and SDG 5 targets of gender equality and empowerment. So to achieve this, give women better decision-making voices in managing water resources. The second key message is, like water sustains life, women sustains communities. And let's invest in women's organizations, because the power to advocate and mobilize is key to achieving true equality. Let's move beyond inclusion to genuine partnership, where women shape policy and drive change, not just participate in it. From global crisis to local solutions, women take the lead. So integrate their local expertise too for effective programs. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and sharing my true reflections from the field. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vena, for your nice presentation. And now our following speaker is Miss Patricia Moreno from Aqua State Coordination from FAO. Please welcome Ms. Morano. The floor is yours.
Yeah,
Because
thank
of
you.
limitation of time.
Yes, I know.
Summarize.
I will
Sorry.
try to be brief, and thank you very much, and thank you very much to ICID for inviting FAO to participate in the celebration of the International Women's Day. I will share my presentation. Can you see the presentation now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let me start with this photo. That is indeed a photo of the first project I participated in FAO already 20 years ago. And it was a project in Morocco in which FAO was supporting the government to convert surface irrigation into drip irrigation, because Morocco has a lot of problems with water scarcity. So there was a very ambitious plan to convert surface irrigation into drip irrigation. So that was my first project, and I was in a team, and there was the senior officer in charge of the project, and our role was to support the government with investment and also to provide capacity development training so farmers could know how to use these new irrigation systems. And in all these activities, we have a lot of meetings with the farmers and trainings. The meetings with the farmers was to plan this infrastructure. We were also building small dams. I couldn't see any single woman in these meetings, and we have many. That was a long project, and we have many. And so I asked my supervisor, and I asked the senior program manager, which was leading this project, why there are no women in this project? Why is only men? And they say no, because irrigation doesn't matter. There are no gender issues in irrigation because women do not irrigate in general. So I accepted that. That was a mistake. I recognize it. I accepted that, and the project was implemented. It was successful, and the last day of the project, we had the closure, and we had a celebration. So one of the farmers invited us to have lunch in his home, and we were having lunch, and in the kitchen there was like the women that were preparing the food. So I approached them and asked them, well, is it true that you don't participate in irrigation? Is it true that for you, this is not something that you are related to? And they say, no, this is not true. We participate in irrigation. And then I ask, and what do you think about this project? Is it good for you? Do you see any benefits? And I say, oh, yes, it's good, because now we work less, because drip irrigation, we have this small dam, so this is less time that we spend in irrigation. But we are also in charge, of keeping the animals. And with the drip irrigation, with the tube, we don't have now these lands. So the animals, we need to go, farther, because the animals, they don't have any more these pastures to go. So I understand what a big mistake we did, not involving women in this project, because the project could have been much more successful and could have more benefits if we could have involved women. This was 20 years ago, so a long time ago. Things have improved, and now projects are the more and more considering this gender approach, but still there are a number of gaps that we need to face also when we work, in developing institutions. So I don't want to repeat what was already said. FAO last year, we launched this important publication, which is the status of women in agri-food systems, where there is a compilation of the data and the actions that FAO is undertaking to, first to raise awareness of what is the role of women in agri-food system, but also to propose some activities at field level, but also at policy level to, raise the profile of women. So it has been already said, agriculture and agri-food systems are an important sector for women, for the livelihoods of women, but still many projects, many programs and policies that's been mentioned by colleagues also working in India, policies, they don't focus on women, right? In Southern Asia, 71% of women in the labor force work in agri-food system versus 47% of men. This is a big difference, and we need to take these figures into account when designing policies and programs. Let me focus now on this map. This map represents the gap in food insecurity between men and women. And when we see a country in red, that means that there is a high gap between the food security between women's and men. So that means that women's food insecurity is higher than men. So in the map, we can see a lot of red, for instance, in Latin America and the Caribbean. These are countries that have improved a lot on the reduction of food insecurity, but still there is a gender gap on food insecurity. We see also that there is a lot of gray. That means that there are no data. So this map should attract also our attention to see that, there is a problem on how we implement projects and policies, because they are not benefiting equally men and women. That has also been mentioned, the importance of land tenure rights. Land tenure rights and water tenure rights come together in many countries. So if we don't ensure that women has access to land, it's difficult also for them to have access to irrigation, to have access to technology, and to reduce this land productivity gap that has also been mentioned between female and male. Decision-making is also important. Now we have SDG 651, which measures what is the level of participation of women in integrated water resources. So we see in this graph that in many countries, if you see the block, the light blue block, you can see that in many countries there is lower than the dark blue, meaning that the participation of women is lower than men. And then also another important issue that has been mentioned, climate change. Climate change is accelerating, is increasing water stress, and is also increasing conflicts. And this is a risk for all the work that we are doing in gender equality, because in these conflicts, women may lose power on their access to women. So all people, all institutions working on climate change and water need to take this disadvantage in consideration when designing the projects. So with all this information, FAO has also undertaken some estimations on what will be the benefit of improving the focus of projects in women. And we have seen that closing the gender gap in farm productivity will increase the GDP by 1% and will reduce food insecurity by 2 percentage points. That means 45 million. So what are the lessons learned in all these years working on irrigation and water management in agriculture? So the first one is that we need gender sensitive and gender responsive planning and implementation of programs. For that, FAO has developed a series of guidelines and methodologies to mainstream these gender approaches in plans. One example that I would like to highlight is the mainstreaming gender in national drought plans that has been launched very, very recently. Another lesson learned is that projects should be designed to address women's and men's domestic and productive water needs. We have seen that in many irrigation systems, women also use water not only for irrigation, but also for the domestic needs. And when implementing projects on irrigation, we need to consider this demand. FAO has also developed a number of guidelines to account for these multiple uses of water in irrigation systems. And then another point, which is very important, is the lack of gender disaggregated data. I manage Aquastat, which is the FAO's global information system on water and agriculture, and our work is collect data on what is the status of water use in agriculture, what is the status of the irrigated surface. And we send a questionnaire to countries so we can, compile this information and disseminate it globally. In the questionnaire, there are some information related to women access to irrigation. And for most of the countries on which we collect information, we don't get any data on that. That means that the countries are not collecting enough information on what is the difference, on what is the gender gap for irrigation and water access. So this is a very important issue because without information, it's difficult, to raise awareness on these issues. So with countries, we need to improve this collection and dissemination of gender disaggregated data. In FAO, we have also developed methodologies for gender responsive water assessment. Many countries undertake water accounting to know what is the availability of water, to know what is the use of water, but it's important also to add a gender perspective to this water accounting needs, so we can know exactly what is the gender gap in that respect. FAO has also developed a number of national gender profiles in many countries, and these national gender profiles have a component for irrigation and water. And then the last lessons learned is capacity development that has already mentioned by my colleagues before. It is important to promote the women's participation in our trainings and capacity development. This is a photo of the typical workshop that FAO organized on irrigation. This particularly was a workshop on an irrigation tool in a model that allows farmers to irrigate better. So you can see that the participation of women are minimal. You see that women are 3 women that are on the sides of the photo. And there are thousands of photos like this, right? If I start looking into the photos our workshop, we see that the participation of women is minimal. And what is the reason? In the past, the reason was maybe that women were not invited, but this is not the case anymore. We always, at FAO, we always say, you know, women need to be present, but it could be that there is no an enabling environment for women participate. Sometimes they have to travel, they need to leave their homes, and this is difficult for women. So we need to find another alternative options so women can participate more on trainings. And I will finish just giving two announcements that maybe many of you know. 2026 will be the International Years of Women's Farmer that has been decided by the UN General Assembly, and FAO together with WFP and IFAD will be in charge or organizing a lot of events on the International Year of Women Farmers. So I hope to see you in any of the events, and I hope that also these events will include the issue of water and land access. And then the second announcement is that the World Water Development Report for 2026 will be also devoted to women, and FAO will lead a chapter on food security and agriculture. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much, and happy Women's Day to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Morano, for your FAO experiences in the field in India. And now I checked the chat box and the question and answer. Approximately all question answered by speakers. In this part, just I would like to have a brief summarize about the speaker and share it with you. Dear Colin emphasized that representation in media, work, school, and communities shape our world, but we also have the power of influence it by embracing our authentic selves. She highlighted the importance of women being multidimensional role model. And finally, she encouraged mentoring, celebrating diversity, and leading to example of foster great representation and empower future generation of women. Dr. Ravinder emphasized that rural women in India and marginalized in water policy and extension services due to gender norms and lack of property right. She advocated for participation in water management and institutional self-governance to empower them. Dr. Khodaka highlight gender inequalities in South Asia, water management, with women facing barrier in access, decision-making, and technology worse by non-inclusive policies and infrastructure design. She emphasized challenges in scaling climate resilience agriculture due to institutional and social barrier. And Dr. Vena emphasized the critical role of women in water management aimed climate change and water security, and for their active participation in decision making. To ensure equitable and sustainable solution, she highlighted barrier like social mindset, lack of confidence, and limited access to education, training, and resources. Miss Patricia highlight the missed opportunity of not involving women in an irrigation project, nothing their significant yet overlooked role in agri-food system, gender gaps in food security, land and water rights, and barrier words by climate change. All speakers emphasize to needs to reform the policies, reform the barriers, and needs to be more attention about the capacity and capability of women for water management in different parts. I sincerely thank all the esteemed speakers for their participation. I'm very pleased to have been with you today. Let's now turn back to the Honorary Secretary General, Dr. Gupta, and Central Office of ICID. Dr. Gupta, the stage is yours now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nargis, for moderating the session. It was a very nice session. Esteemed speakers from different organizations, from different part of the world, talked about women's role, women's empowerment challenges, and of course, how to improve women's participation in water sector. And we all agree that women's empowerment will lead to more effective water management and more equitable water distribution, and which can be achieved through especially capacity building approach and by making policies which are gender centric. But in my view, besides policy making, we have to shift to strategy formulation now. And we have to make quantification in strategy formulation, and quantified systems have to be approached by different organizations so that we can monitor the progress of this gender equality in water sector. That's all. Now I request President ICID, Dr. Marco Marcieri, to give his address on this occasion. Dr. Marco.
Yes, thank you, Secretary General. Thank you, Dr. Nagas. First of all, I would like to thank personally and warmly thank all the esteemed and distinguished speakers, the ladies that have joined us for this very important issue. And of course, also let me thank all the people who participated to this very important webinar. Many things have come up. First of all, I will say we had about 50 participants today. My commitment will be next time, because this is only the first step of the process. As all of you know, I'm very committed to this very important issue of women empowerment, of women participation, women recognition on the whole, because this is really the road, this is the way ahead for improving rural communities' life conditions. There's no doubt about this. So I consider this, as president of ICID, I had the pleasure and the privilege to, under the suggestion, of course, of our leader of our task force in ICID, Dr. Nagas Sorabi, I had, as I was saying, I had the privilege, the honor to launch this webinar. And I'm sure the next time we will have double participants. This is our commitment. This is one of the first signals we can have, because we need to have more and more participants, especially men. This is the real issue. We have to have recognition from the men. Many things have come up. That's why I wanted to thank personally all of the speakers, Carleen, Ms. Ravinder Kaur, most of them I know them personally. Of course, my friend Patricia, Dr. Rena Kanduri, Dr. Manohara Katika, all of them have given us very insightful suggestions. I feel very much enriched today. I learned a lot today. Of course, many of the things that have been talked and discussed, I knew them because I'm very sensitive, I'm very keen on this particular topic, but it was a very informative and important day for me as a man. And that's why I'm very happy that we are celebrating Women's Day in this way. I think it's an effective way. Of course, we need to provide, when we go back to our home, flowers and attention, but this is not only what we should do today. We should do it every day. So that's why I can tell you, I like to leave you with the commitment that this is only the first step. We will have of course, other workshops, other webinars, starting from the very next appointments we have as ICID. We have the African Regional Conference next month in Africa, in Nigeria. I do sincerely hope that we will be able to find some space and some protagonists from the women, so that we can listen from the very voice in the field, on the spot, what is their perspective. Of course, we will also have very important appointment in the World Irrigation Forum, which is going to take place in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, next September. And let me take advantage of the kind participation of my friend Patricia Moreno from FAO. She's going to lead a side event on the monitoring process of indicators, SDG indicators 6.4 and 6.2. But I will, if you allow me, Patricia, I will also ask you to join us for a very important also event, which our task force leader, Dr. Nages Rabi, is going to have in Kuala Lumpur. And I would like to invite all the women who are here in this important webinar to join us for this very important appointment. And of course, as I was talking to Patricia, yes, we would be very happy. We want to be protagonists for the International Year of Women Farmers, which is going to be in 2026. So let's point out that ICID, on behalf of especially considering the long-time relationship that has been between ICID, which is going on, and FAO, we want to be protagonists for that and for all other initiatives. Let me just spend a few seconds more, because this is the Day of the Women, but I have many considerations to do about what has been said. I was particularly struck by all of the speakers, but of course, Colleen said there's some things I was really impressed. There's not a single way to be a woman. And all women should be committed to be what you want to see. I think this is a very important message. Let your confidence shine. It's not about women power. It's about being curious and recognizing and accepting the diversity of women. My personal opinion is that when you give a task to a man and a woman, 8 of 10 times women do it better, because they are more accurate, more precise, more reliable. Of course, also very insightful from Ms. Ravinder Kaur, the difficulties about how water policies usually are devoted, usually assuming that men are responsible for water policy, which is a great mistake. And we really need to have a serious introspection on the role of rural women economically and socially under considered. And of course, many other things. Again, Patricia was recalling a very, very important issue, which is the land tenure rights. How can we ensure that women can have access to irrigation if we are not considering the issue of the land tenure rights, which is usually attributed to men? So I had many other things to do. My consideration is that the pathway has been signed. It's a difficult task, because this is my impression. It's many times is especially a cultural problem. It's a problem of culture, ancient traditions, ancient culture, which are difficult to change. So this is the main problem, but we have to work for this. As president of ICID, Secretary General, you will remind this. I am ready to consider some amendments to our constitution. I wanted to have the women candidatures in ICID board as office bearers, as vice presidents by constitution. But of course, this is something we can discuss about. And I really, really hope, let me take advantage of this occasion as president of ICID to suggest all national committees, all of them, each and every one of them, to have as candidature of a woman was in 2014 or 2015, I think. So 10 years have gone by. We really need to have candidates from the women. We don't have vice president women as of now. So this is a very important also suggestion. I would like just to finish. I was impressed by some consideration that Secretary General of United Nations, Gutierrez, has been stating just a few hours ago. I think it was maybe yesterday. I want to recall what he said because I think this is the backbone of what we're talking about. He said at the United Nations General Assembly, when women participate in negotiations, peace lasts longer. When girls can go to school, and we have seen that many cases in many villages, girls are not allowed. It's impossible for them to go to school because they have to fetch water. This is one of the questions that was raised. When girls can go to school, entire generations can live out of poverty. When women enjoy equal job opportunities, economies grow stronger. And when parity in political leadership, decision is accomplished, decisions are fairer, policies are sharper, and societies are more just. So this is I would like to leave you with this impression. Yes, I know that Dr. Narizi is here. He would like to have the floor. Let me just finish saying that Secretary General, we will provide, I think we can provide certificate of participations, and we are taking into account all of the questions and issues that have been raised. And we will try to reply them, of course, in due course of time. If not, we will also, let me say to all the people who participated, we will take into account all of the issues that have been raised, and this might be the topics and the arguments to start with in our next appointment. Yes, I see that President Honoraire Saeed Narizi from Iran is here and would like to speak. Dr. Narizi, President Narizi, if you like, I think we can have your impression as well, please.
Yes. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you. Maybe you can, oh, yes, you can see me also. I hope you have got a good day so far. It is my honor really to be with you today to celebrate the International Women's Day. May I congratulate you all and wish you all the success. ICID during whole its history, like the other international fraternity, have been open to all participants from member countries regardless of their gender or beliefs. But the women participation in our working groups or events relative to men participation has not been so eye-catching. On the first glance, one may think that such unwillingness from the women or from the women is due to the type of the business which we are dealing with, or may think otherwise. However, we are planning at ICID to change the pace and encourage the women to play a greater role in our ICID activities. Since we believe they would make a significant differences. The ladies could make a significant difference, this is our belief. I hope the establishment of the task force and following its agenda would lead ICID towards this important goal. At the end, once more, I wish you a very good celebration day. And I hope to see more ladies in the meetings and active at ICID. Thank you very much, Marco and other colleagues. I hope to see you soon in other
Thank you very much, President Honoraire Nerisi, for your message, which is really highly appreciated, and for your participation as well. So I think if, as I said, all of the questions and all of the issues raised have been taken duly into account, we will try, with the help of Dr. Nages and, if wanted, all the other speakers, we will try to accomplish the replies and the answers. And let me say once again, thank you, Nages. Thank you, Center Office Secretary General. Thank you, all of the speakers and all of the participants. Hope to see you soon. Let's keep up attention. Let's keep the pace, as President Nerisi, Honoraire Nerisi saying. Let's keep up the pace and let's move on. I'm sure we have a long way to walk, but the important thing is that the first steps are well taken. So thank you very much and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
May I take a photograph? Open the video
Yes.
and take a picture from central office.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carly. Thank you, Dr. Vena, Dr. Ravinder, and all participants, Dr. Manohara. I'm so excited to find all of you. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Professor Nargis. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you so much,
Well done.
Thank you, President Dr. Marco. Thank you, President Honorary Dr. Saidi, all the speakers and participants. We have to go a long way, but we have to go together. So we will meet soon again. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank
See you next time.
Thank you.
See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye now.
See you soon.
Bye.